Watch.
Hello everyone, this is Tiffany coming to you again from Whitney and Tiffany. I have been enjoying going back. This picture was taken almost a year ago to the day. Just playing with these actions. I've been using them almost exclusively, I would say, for the last maybe 6 weeks or so. And I've been trying to shoot new content, but now I'm trying to go and find photos that can really showcase how amazing they really are. So this is a photo that, like I said, I took a year ago, and I chose this photo because I feel like the focus is on her face and I want to work on her skin. So I can show you, I fixed the background and I liquefied, so I fixed this and then I liquefied her hair and took away, there were a couple marks on her face. You can see like in here, it looks like she got in a fight. I don't know what's happening. So I liquefied them out and then I fixed up her hair a little bit with liquefy. But other than that, I have not done, I fixed her hair with liquefy. I took the little marks off of her face with just the eraser, the spot healing tool. So I am going to run our skin action. So we're focusing on her skin here, and I may go into the eyes as well. So some of these actions, many of these actions are only found in our skin smoothing bundle. And I have had so many people message me and ask, like, what do I need? Do I need to buy it all? And I say, if you can only buy one thing, it's the ultimate workflow, because that's going to take you start to finish. If you can buy two things, you need to buy the skin package or the skin set and the ultimate workflow. And then wait until you can purchase everything else or afford to purchase everything else, because it's all amazing. And we already have some really amazing things in the works coming out very soon. So there's more coming. But this skin smoothing, or the whole skin set, it's incredible. So I love the ultimate workflow and the skin smoothing that is in there, but this just takes it to the next level. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use our auto skin smoothing, and this is only available in this bundle. It is not available in our ultimate workflow, or you can purchase it separately. I think it's $10. So the auto skin smoothing can be purchased separately. So I'm going to zoom in on her here, and I've discussed this in the other skin video, but in case you didn't watch it, here's what's so great about this action, how it's unlike any other skin action I have personally ever used or seen. It smooths the skin, but it also keeps the texture and the contrast intact. So Kinley has freckles. I'm actually going to go for a very, very smooth look here because it's bright. This is literally taken on a white V flat, and I popped it in front of a window, an egress window at that, in our basement. So there are no studio lights here. She is in a basement. I just want to go for really smooth skin. So what this action does is it auto selects your skin, and then it pops the highlights. Turn that off and on. It keeps and adds some contrast here. Off and on with our skin texture, and then it smooths, so off and on. So I can see it's selecting a little bit of her clothing here. So if it ever selects something, I'm going to close it down, and I'm going to grab a black brush, and I'm going to click on the white mask, and I'm just going to brush it off. And you can see where you're brushing if you hit your backslash key. Hang on a second. Why is it not showing me? All right, well, because I have a white, I need to grab a black brush. That's why. And if I hit my backslash key, I can see where I've colored. And then I always, just in case, because I like to have sharp eyes, do it on the eyes, because I saw there was a little bit extra there, and I do it on her lips. But I'm going to grab the white again and paint underneath here. All right, so now I have the auto skin smoothing, turning it off and on her face. I see it's on the hair a little bit over here, and I'm okay with that because I shot this at like a 1:2 and it's blurry anyway. I want the focus to just be right here. So why this is so wonderful. I'm going to start with my highlights. I like bright skin. I like my highlights to pop. So as you can see, it's coming on her skin and on her hat, which I'm totally okay with. If it's too much, you can click here and you can reduce the opacity. If you'd like more, you can increase the opacity. I liked it at 25. If you don't like this color on your subject, you double click on here and you can choose any color you want. If you want it to be darker, like she's too bright, you move it straight down. If you want it to be lighter, you can move it to the left. If you want it more saturated, move it to the right. Sometimes I actually like her a little bit more peachy toned. So I am going to try this, and I'm going to turn that off and on. So that's popping the highlights, and I'm happy with that. Again, I want her to be pretty smooth here, so I'm going to just reduce that contrast. If you want to add more texture, and I can zoom in on her face here so you can see. It's just adding more texture to her skin. I'm going to drop that down quite low. And then I am going to go to my skin smoothing, and right now it's at 50%. I'm going to bump it up because I want her to have very smooth skin, and I'm also going to use some of our other skin smoothing. So if I turn this off and on, you can see what that has done in a very short amount of time to her skin. Now, the next one we have is just skin smoothing. This is the skin smoothing that is included in our ultimate workflow. And it does just that. It smooths the skin, but does keep the contrast and the texture intact. So I am just going to do that on the places I want to have some extra smoothing. So if I zoom out, you can see that's very, very smooth. Too much for me. And then I am just going to grab under her eyes. All right. Doll face is going to do only smoothing. So doll face, I'm going to put underneath her eyes. It's also going to lighten it up a tad for you. So if you want that like very, very smooth, I don't know if you want to call it plastic looking skin, which has its place in some edits. If you like it, great. I'm just going to run it on these areas again. And then I am going to drop that opacity again. So we still have her freckles a little bit, but we are losing them a little bit as well. Last one under skin smoothing is glowing skin. This is going to kind of blend everything and add a glow while also smoothing your skin. I'm going to tap twice on her cheeks and once on her chin. All right. Turn that off and on, and you can see it's that subtle little glow. I am actually going to grab it here and here as well. Okay. Now, the next part is popping the skin. So Kinley has very dark circles under her eyes, and a lot of people like to use the patch tool, and you simply grab and drag down. But I can't do that with her because she has freckles. So when I grab and drag down, it brings freckles up underneath her eyes, which I don't know if some people have them. I just know she doesn't. So for me, that method doesn't always work. So I am going to, this was actually a late ad for us, was the under eye correct. So I am going to grab the under eye correct, and it says, using the eyedropper, select the proper skin color right below the under eye. I think that this is fixed. I just haven't re-downloaded the new one. So I'm going to grab, I'm going to hit continue, and I need to grab an eyedropper. And then I'm going to, with a white brush, fill in under here. I am going to double click on here, and sometimes you have to run this twice, one for each eye, but both my eyes are lit pretty similarly here, so I'm just going to leave it. And I'm changing the color to darken it a little bit, and then I'm going to drop the opacity. I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to drop it a little bit more, I think. So very little, 5%, that's it. but it just takes those bags away a little bit. The next thing we're going to work on is the cheeks, the lips, and the teeth. So the folder looks like this. Somebody messaged and said, like, does it look like this? Yes, you literally click on it and hit play, and all these masks and everything are here. It's exactly like what I'm showing you. So I'm going to start down here with cheeks, and you grab a white brush, and I'm going to dab and dab. And I'm going to turn that off and on, and I think I want to go for, I'm not sure what color I want her cheeks to be. I don't know. I think I want them to be more of like a pink. I'm going to click OK. And I'm actually going to raise the opacity of this a little bit and turn that off and on. Okay, I like that. I want them to be pink. I don't know what bubblegum pink is what I'm going for. All right, so now the lips. I have a white brush because I have a black mask. And I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to paint on her lips. And I'm going to zoom out and turn that off and on. And I'm going to double click on here, and I'm just going to bring that out. It's a little dark. So I like the color, the tone, but it was a little dark for me. Now, if you'd like it stronger, you bring it up. If you'd like it less opacity, you just bring it down. So it's all controlled by you. We can see a little piece of her tooth that's getting fixed now because she has braces, but I'm going to leave that. And then we have all over glow. So I'm going to grab the all over glow, and I'm going to just stamp it on areas that I want to show some glow. I'm literally just stamping. So if I turn that off and on, you can see I'm going to zoom out. And I am going to drop the opacity and giving her a little bit of a glow. All right, so the next thing we have is dodge, burn, burn, and glow. So I'm going to hit play, come down here, and I am going to burn the skin. You have a couple options. You can leave the opacity at 90% and your flow and opacity up top at 100%, and it's going to look like this. So I'm going to hit Command Z. Anytime you don't like something, you can hit that. And you can do this. I'm sorry, I can show you here. And then you can drop the opacity here. So I am going to hit Command Z again, but I'm going to move my flow down here. And I'm going to do 4 only because it's quite bright. So I think it's going to take a little bit more to show the the burning. So I'm going to leave it there, and if it's too bright, or too dark, I will just move the opacity down over here. Maybe I'll just use some of these and show you how you can use them for eyes. But our eye actions are so good. They're so good. Eye actions are found. You can buy them in the Ultimate Workflow, or you can buy the Retouch package separately. I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to turn that off and on. So many people wonder, when you look at changing someone's shape of their face, a lot of that can be done by simply dodging and burning, giving the definition to their face by dodging and burning. So I'm just clicking on the nostrils here, and I'm going to turn that off and on. Do you see the difference that makes? I am going to drop this opacity just a tad. And then I have dodge global. Is there anything that I want to dodge? I'm going to go ahead and dodge her hat and her hair here. And I am going to up my opacity to 24. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to burn different areas of her sweater here. I'm kind of clicking around and pulling on areas where I can see they're darker. So we're just trying to enhance those areas. All right, if I turn that off and on, now that's way too much. So I need to drop the opacity quite a bit. Turn that off and on, and then I'm going to come up and I'm going to hit Command Z. That was too much, and I'm going to burn a little bit on her hat. I'm going to hit Command Z there. Don't like that. Okay. Now I am going to work on her highlights. So my flow's at 24, and that is way too much. Glow is extra bright, so I'm going to put it at 2. 3 is good, I guess. So these are the areas that I want to add a little extra glow. I'm going to go down here as well. I am going to add a little bit above her eye. Kind of like a little built-in eyeshadow there. All right. And I'm going to play add contrast. And I'm going to do a stamp here at higher than 3%. I'll go to 60%. I'm going to back it off. Nope, I don't like how that looks. So if you don't like it, you just turn it off. I want her to have the really smooth skin. Skin color balance. So here is where, if you're seeing any areas where we have gray skin, yellow skin, red skin, you literally click on these and hit play, and you can take the color away. So if I turn that off and on, it was kind of a yellow hue, not a lot. I'm going to drop the opacity of this. Reducing red. I don't see a lot of red or blue. Reduce magenta is really cool because you can click it. Oop, that's not what I want to do. I want to hit play. So I click on here and hit play. And if I turn that off and then on, it takes the magenta out of the image. The same thing with orange. Hit play, and it takes the excessive orange out of the image. Reduce gray skin is amazing. We can get gray skin in our shadows. So I am going to grab a white brush, and I'm going to put my flow at like 26, and I'm going to just dab in these areas where the skin is gray. And you can see what that does. It's still too bright for me, so I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. All right. And that is it. So we've gone through color balance, we've gone through skin pop, and we've gone through skin smoothing. So if I grab a snapshot, I can show you, this is where we started her skin, and this is using our skin set. Isn't it incredible what it can do? And then if you want to take it one step further, we can go to our retouch, WTF retouch. So you can purchase retouch separately, or you can get it in the ultimate workflow. And I'm just going to pop her eyes. There was a lot of questions regarding our eye actions. They are amazing. So I'm going to open up the retouch and grab eye retouch. I'm going to go to the bottom, and I'm going to brighten this up. I am at 26%, and I'm okay with that. This one is really bright. If you want it brighter, have at it. If you don't, all you have to do is adjust the opacity. All right, so she has window lights. Her catch lights are literally from the window. I'm going to up this. And we've got a little bit of it over here. So, and over here. This is for your catch lights. I'm going to bring it down. Iris contrast is going to do just that. It's going to add contrast into the eye. Oh my goodness, I just can't believe the difference between this one and my new camera. It's incredible when I've been so used to editing my new camera, images from my new camera. Eye whiten. I like a white eye and I like a bright eye as well, but we don't want it to look alien, so it's something to keep in mind. Here, see, we're going to brighten it up. So I typically edit like this, very, very close. Very close up, but then I always zoom back and I can turn that off and on. And I can see that that's a little bit strong, so I'm going to bring it back. And then I can do the same thing with the eye whiten. That one's okay with me. I like it because of the white background. I wanted like that monochrome, the monochromatic, and then the irises. You can see what that's done. We're not done. Adjust eye color. This one is my favorite. So black and white, and I am at 100%, and I am just going to first color her entire eye. By the way, your bracket keys are what you can use to make your brush larger and smaller. The right one makes it larger, the left one makes it smaller, and now I just hit the pen. We don't want the pen, we want a brush. Okay, so, I mean, this is wild, right? What we need to do is double click here, and that's going to bring up, we can go into the shadows of just her eyes, and I can add in whatever color. I usually just leave it on midtones, to be honest. And I usually add in some blue, some green, and some cyan, some green, and some blue. And then I back away and see that's crazy, and I drop this way down. But what I love that this does is it gives some depth to the eyes, and it also really just makes the iris pop. The darken the limbal ring, it depends. Sometimes hers is already darkened. Many times I add to it. Typically, if my subject has blue eyes, I wouldn't do this because their limbal ring tends, to be a little bit more pronounced just because of the color of their eyes, but that's totally up to you. And our eye sharpen action is awesome. It's not too much. It's just enough. I am literally just clicking on her eye. So I just want to show you off and on. Let me zoom out again, off and on. What you can do to an image by simply working with your eyes. So I can take a snapshot here. The whole image when we began was here. I think it's a gorgeous image. I like the fresh face, but I really wanted that smooth skin and to pop her eyes. So this is what I did, and I absolutely love it. Now, if one step further, I probably should have closed up my retouch actions, but our color toning. So in my mind right now, I have two things that I'm thinking. Winter, although her skin tone is a little warm and she's got kind of the creams, and winter cools things down. So I accidentally just ran this within my retouch, but it's fine. It'll work. Or autumn, bringing out those tones. So this is, you can buy it separately, our color toning package. Or it comes in our ultimate workflow, but winter. I'm going to hit it and look what this does. I love the monochrome, the look of white on white. Now, this one here, I like her skin. I like the warmth that it has. So at 50%, if I take winter off of her, whoops. Here's what we've got. So I can turn that off and on. And I really like what that does to the background, cooling things off. Now, if I'm not sure and I'm like, maybe I want it to be warmer, I can go and hit autumn and see what that does. I love what that does to her skin, not necessarily the background. Maybe I want bright and airy. So there are just, these are one click. They're so great. And you can use them alone, together, at different opacities. I'm just clicking around to show you guys. Golden contrast is one of my favorites. So here's what I think I would do if I was editing this image. I would turn winter back on, and I would turn autumn on, click on the mask and hit Command I or Control I and invert it. And then I would grab a white brush and paint that on my subject. And then I'm going to drop the opacity to 7, so super low. I just want to see what Moody would look like. Ooh, I like that too. And then I would do golden contrast. And I would drop this down. So just by doing a couple clicks and our color toning, the image went from this to this. There is just so much you can do. Now, if I realize like, ooh, I'm not loving the dodging and burning, guess what? You just go back in here and you can fix it because everything is here. There's no flattening required. So I want to go to winter and grab a black brush, and I'm just gonna take a little bit of that off of her hat. All right, that's it. This is what I have for you. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that if you have questions, you're asking. Those of you who have purchased the sets are loving them. And please, please post your pictures. We want to see them. We want to see these actions in action. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me.